All right, we will start creating our hilltop by going about a third of the way up on the left-hand side and just making a curve that ends right in the bottom right-hand corner of your paper. Just like that. So about a third of the way up and just make a nice curve to the lower right-hand corner of your paper. Now, out of the three elements that we have in this drawing, we have the tree, the jack-o'-lantern, and the mansion. Okay, the moon is your light source, and that'll be last. We're going to start with the tree because it does a nice job of framing the pumpkin and the mansion on that side. And so it's going to basically fill up our entire left side of our paper. But we're going to start at the bottom, and we know that trees are wide at the base. And then as they get taller, they get more and more narrow. And this tree is very old, is very crooked. It has a very strong curve right at the beginning there, and turns a very strong direction, and then turns again here. So it goes up, and it goes to the right, and then it goes up, and then it's going to veer back to the left. And there's going to be a number of branches associated with it. So this tree is not straight up and down. This tree is going to be very, very old and very, very crooked. And it's almost as if this little elbow here is kind of pointing at our focal point, which is going to be our jack-o'-lantern, which is going to be right here. So another oval shape for the jack-o'-lantern, and then we're going to continue on with the tree. As you create branches of your tree will create what I call a V. So your branch is going to go up, and then it's going to branch off, and you create a V so that your lines can continue to expand into the sky. And holding your pencil back a little bit, allowing your lines to be more irregular. You don't want them all straight. You don't want them perfect. You want them to appear to be natural. And so your feathering technique, where you lift the pencil up off the paper, is very key technique to creating good branches. And it's okay that they go off the page. In fact, they should go off the page, because that kind of shows that there is more to the tree than what we see. But they gradually get a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner, and then finish with a nice tapered line. Just letting your pencil do the work. And you can get pretty involved with branches. You can just kind of let them go and see what happens. But you want to fill up that space on the left-hand side as best as you can. If some of your bigger branches get too thin and look like they wouldn't support the other branches, then you can go ahead and back and thicken that up a little bit. Of course, the branches can overlap, as they oftentimes do. Again, going off the page. Now, this tree has been on this hilltop for a long, long time. I would say decades. It may be dead, there are no leaves on it, but it's definitely dark and ominous and kind of fits the tone of our Halloween season and Halloween drawing. But it has been affected by its environment, and you can tell that it's been very windy on a great deal of nights and is therefore twisted in space due to the huge amount of wind that has affected it over the years. All trees react to their environment, and so these cross contour lines that we're doing here will help show how it is twisting in three-dimensional space. And remember, we're going to ink this, so we don't have to do a whole lot of shading right now. We're just going to put enough lines in there to show which way the texture lines are going. The root system. The roots act just like branches do and get they get smaller as they go away from the tree. Okay, so again, the shape of the tree is essential to fill up that space, and you can continue to add branches as you see fit. All right, our pumpkin jack-o'-lantern again starts as a sphere or an oval. Instead of doing the ridges of the pumpkin first, we're going to do the face of the pumpkin first. And if you want to create your own face for this, you are absolutely more than welcome. I'm going to place the stem of the pumpkin up here, just underneath the elbow of the tree. And then I'm going to place the two eyes, place two dots for the two eyes. So they will be kind of on the same side, same level. Now, you know, when you carve into a pumpkin, you see the interior wall, and so it's going to be very important to draw that added dimension inside your pumpkin so it looks 3D. All right, still using this line of symmetry, going between the eyes, going kind of straight down. We'll find the center of our mouth, and then I will draw this smile that goes really up to the eyes itself, and then comes down. And then I will add the teeth. And same thing, look inside the mouth, see the thickness of the pumpkin wall. All right, and at this point then you can do a few of the ridges. and shape the pumpkin a little bit. Again, doing them first would have encouraged us to have to erase a bit of it once we placed the face. It was just easier to place the face first. Alright, so your tree is in place, your pumpkin is right underneath, your hilltop is sloping down right to the corner of your paper. And then we have just enough room for our haunted mansion, which is going to be right back here. And it's going to be an old Victorian mansion, as most mansions are, built in the mid-1800s, early 1900s. And they all have a lot of different types of rooftops. I'm going to leave a little space for our moon, which is going to be right up here. So go right about here. And you're able to develop any mansion that you want for this particular piece, but you want to have it big enough to where you can see some of the details. So this is the tallest part of the house right here, and they have lots of little windows, as you're about to see. The roof extends outwards, and they had old fireplaces, and therefore they had chimneys. These houses were big, had multiple rooms, 7, 8, 9, 10 rooms, no electricity, no gas, and therefore were heated in the winter by their fireplaces. So we're going to add a couple chimneys on both sides. Windows on either side, so it's very symmetrical. Okay, straight down the middle, it's the same on both sides. And these are called gables, the gables that kind of sit right outside on top of a angled roof. And this main section goes straight down. Make that a little bit smaller. A lot of these homes were 3 stories, so you had your attic, 3rd story, your 2nd story here, and then down below was the entryway, the porch. Most of the roofs were made with wooden shingles, so you make a series of horizontal lines across the rooftop. There's your front doorway. Big bay window on the porch, and we're pretty much done. So the mansion is secondary to everything else. Your focal point is your pumpkin. It's framed by the tree, and you're going to have just enough room up here for your moon. Okay, so again, the hilltop is overlapping some of that, and it would be in your best interest to always use a circle graph, because you want to have a perfectly full circular moon up there. You got to decide which shape to use. I probably would not go with this colossally huge moon. I would probably go with a more medium-sized one. And I'm going to choose that one right there. Just put it off slightly to the side and trace it. Once we ink this, we're going to go ahead and trace that as well. But that'll put it in place for us. So you got your moon just above, and that's going to be our light source. And I'll show you how we're going to deal with that in just a little while. As far as finishing the hilltop is concerned, really what we're going to need to be doing is just kind of plotting little areas of field grass. And field grass, again, you taper and you use the feathering technique. You don't want to cover up too much of your house that you just finished. And you're not going to cover the whole hilltop in grass. You're going to put just enough to suggest that there is grass on the hilltop. As it gets closer, the blades of grass become a little bit bigger, so you might need a double line. And they crisscross. The grass just kind of goes where it wants to go. You fill in just enough so you can see what it is. Just a little patch. And if you do multiple patches, I would make sure that you didn't do the same size or same shape. You want them to appear to be somewhat random. And that right there is part 1 of our haunted hilltop. Finish the pencil sketch, and next session we will begin inking.